In this year's finals, the Lakers have the home court advantage, which should work in their favor. That is, if the trend persists, because LA has lost only once in the Forum in this year's playoffs. That was in Game 2 against the Utah Jazz. The Lakers and the Detroit Pistons now begin their championship battle. It all begins Tuesday night at the Forum. In the major leagues today, one tribesman goes for his 11th win this season. Cleveland pitcher Greg Swindell on the mound today in Detroit to face the Tigers. He currently leads the majors in victories with a 10-1 record, but the glory has not come overnight. Before this year, Swindell had a lifetime record of 8-10 and an ERA of 4.77. Quite a turnaround for him, which in turn has turned the Indians around as well. Jack Corrigan takes a closer look at the Indian, whose smoke signals have batters baffled.
After a season of frustration and injury in 1987, Greg Swindell has the best start of any pitcher in the majors this year. While fans may wonder what's caused the big turnaround, Greg says his 10-1 start is just the result of being healthy again.
I think by coming up in August of '86, I proved that I could pitch. I went 5-2, and with the injury, it hindered me a little bit last year, and all I needed was to be healthy, and I think that once I got healthy, I knew that I could pitch at the major league level, and that's the way it's been going so far.
Swindell broke into the big leagues 2 years ago as another Texas Longhorn who could throw smoke. Greg admits now, however, he is a much different pitcher than he was several years ago.
Well, I guess I'm more of a pitcher instead of a thrower. I go out and I depend on all my pitches each night, and if I don't have one pitch, sometimes I can compensate it with another pitch, and that's the way it's been going this year. I've always had my fastball every game, and it's been moving for me so far, and if my slider's not working, I've had a good curve and change-up, and if my curve's not working, I've had a good slider and change-up. Everything's been compensating for each other.
Kansas City slugger Danny Tartabull broke up a no-hit bid of Swindell's earlier this week, but like the rest of the American League, Tartabull has discovered it's tough to tangle with the Tribe southpaw.
Absolutely. Greg Swindell is the type of pitcher that's going to go right after you. He's got a good fastball, and he has good command of his off-speed pitches, and he works ahead, and like I said before, he has good command of his pitches, and that's what makes him a great pitcher, and that's why he's 10-1 right now.
Roger Clemens and Dave Stewart have grabbed the early spotlight, while Swindell has quietly picked up victories. Greg says he is trying to gain the same kind of respect and recognition.
A lot of people may think it's premature, but, you know, I've worked hard to get to where I am right now, and just to be in a class with Dave Stewart and Roger Clemens, I'm happy right now, and I would just like to keep it up throughout the course of a season, because I don't want to be here now. I want to be here at the end of the season along with them.
Reporting from Cleveland, this is Jack Corrigan for Game Day.
Thank you very much, Jack. If you look at Swindell's stats this season, quite a difference, an ERA of 2.11 for complete games already compared to 5 previously. He's thrown 2 shutouts. He had only 1 before this year, and 57 strikeouts total for the season so far. Swindell going for his 11th win today at Tiger Stadium. He'll face Frank Tanana, who is 8-3. By the way, Swindell's only loss came against Dave Stewart of the A's, when both pitchers were currently undefeated at that time. Meanwhile, in Baltimore yesterday, it was a marathon. In fact, the longest game in the majors this season, 5 hours and 46 minutes, as the Orioles hosted the AL East leading Yankees. This one going 14 innings. The O's led 3-2 in the 9th. Pinch hitter Jose Cruz singles to center. Dave Winfield trots in to score, and the game's tied at 3. On to the 10th. Jack Clark slams his 11th homer of the year to left field, and the Yanks take lead 4-3. Baltimore comes right back. R.C. Gonzalez bloops one into the corner for a ground rule double. Wade Rowden scores, and the game is all tied at 4. The Yanks score in the 14th. O's load the bases. Cal Ripken hits a shot to third. Mike Pagliarulo's throw is off the mark. 3-run score. Bill Ripken slides in with the winner, and Baltimore wins it 7-6 with that New York loss. The Yanks are now only a game and a half ahead of Cleveland in the AL East. Well, we're going to be back with plenty more here on Game Day. It's Bud time in Dover, Delaware, as the NASCAR drivers battle in the Budweiser 500. A report when Game Day continues, but first, a look at yesterday's scores from the Major League. Stay with us.
Up here, you catch them with experience. And when you've got them where you want them, you head for the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream. Busch.
How are those horses doing? What horses?
Head for the mountains of Busch beer.
I'm even jazzier in my BVDs.
Hey, I drive even faster in my BVDs.
I'm more intimidating in my BVDs.
BVD brand underwear. Whatever you do, that extra comfort helps you do it better.
I became a TV heartthrob in my BVDs.
America, do it better. Do it in your BVDs.
At my age, I've done just about everything in my BVDs.
Cash charge.
We interrupt this purchase for a reminder.
I've got to have it.
There's still one more place to comparison shop.
I don't know where to start.
Here, by choosing the card that actually pays you cash. Cash back for every charge. The Discover card.
That's the one.
It's perfect.
It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back.
Welcome back to Game Day. Dale Earnhardt has many times proven his skill and expertise on the track. He's the defending Winston Cup champ, which is a proof of his success. But that aggressive need to win has several times turned into controversy and danger. Last year, you remember, in the Winston, Dale Earnhardt in the yellow and blue car repeatedly cut off number 9, Bill Elliott, as he attempted to pass. Many observers felt that Elliott had the faster car here. In the end, Earnhardt was the victor. And on the victor lap, Bill Elliott decided to get back. He gives Earnhardt a shove, almost causing an accident.
Well, that was something else. You know, Bill spun that 95 car out and caused a big mess, and then he come up there and tried to spin me out twice. I didn't take it.
Yeah, but the thing of it is, I was clearly under him, and I was going on. I clearly had the quickest car. You know, he was trying to cut me off every way he could.
This year, controversy continues to dog Earnhardt. In the World 600, Earnhardt gets tied up with Jeff Bodine, knocking Bodine and 3 others out of the race. Bodine did return after a 66-lap pit stop. NASCAR issued a 5-lap penalty to Earnhardt.
They informed me they penalized him 5 laps. That's some sort of justice. That's the procedure nowadays. But it doesn't fix the car. It doesn't get us back out there. It doesn't help us to run this 600 miles.
Earnhardt is in the 5th row for today's Budweiser 500 in Dover, Delaware. Alan Kulwicki won the pole position on Friday in a record time for today's race. Bob Jenkins is at the Dover Downs International Speedway for a report on today's race. Bob?
Thank you, Carrie, and good afternoon, everybody. Well, it's a beautiful day in Dover, Delaware. We're set for the Budweiser 500 on this very demanding racetrack. It's 1 mile, 500 laps. Last week, of course, at Charlotte, there was a problem with tires. Several crashed because of tire failure, and everyone is hoping that we will not have a similar situation here this afternoon. For more on that, let's go to our reporter in Pit Central for the afternoon. Here is Larry Newber.
Well, Bob, here is the pole setter for today's race, a man that ESPN has been following practically since ESPN's inception, 1980, Alan Kulwicki. And Alan, the big story today is tires, isn't it?
It sure is, Larry. The Goodyears were the faster tire to qualify on. Which one's going to be faster in the long run in the race is hard to tell, but right now the biggest concern is safety. We've seen some of each brand of tires tear up in practice. It really has the drivers concerned.
Even though you appear to have the best setup, and by the way, we hear on the in-car radios that everybody is talking about how is Kulwicki doing, it's just impossible to get the thought of tire failure off of your mind.
It is. There were a few last week in Charlotte and a few yesterday in the Grand National race in cars that were 250 pounds lighter than what we're going to run today. Plus, the weather's going to be a little bit hotter. It's weighing very heavily on everyone's mind, and I don't think there is any right answer at this point. I don't think anyone has it figured out.
Well, the fates be willing, Alan Kulwicki is in an excellent position for his first career win. At least, a lot of people are talking about him.
All right, Larry. Well, Alan Kulwicki will be on pole position. Alongside will be Mark Martin, and on the inside of row number 2, Rick Wilson. None of those drivers has ever won a Winston Cup race. We'll be back with our live coverage beginning at 12 noon Eastern Time for the Budweiser 500 here at Dover Downs International Speedway. Back to you, Karie.
Thank you very much, Bob. Of course, that coming up following game day here in just a few minutes. Meanwhile, the Indy cars after last week's Indy 500 are in Wisconsin today for the Milwaukee 200. Roberto Guerrero's horrible luck has continued. He crashed yesterday during practice runs and is listed in satisfactory condition at a Wisconsin hospital today. His car spun out and then hit a wall, and Guerrero was knocked unconscious. He is expected, however, to be released today. Now, the front row for this afternoon's Milwaukee 200 is more like a family gathering. The Andretti swept the front row with Michael winning the pole and his father Mario in second. Michael's won 2 straight races at the Wisconsin State Fair Park. Rick Mears, last week's winner at Indy, is in the second row along with Al Unser Jr. Well, don't go away. There's still a lot more coming here on game day, including the latest from the ring as the Hitman tries to defend his title. Before we go to break, however, a look at the probable starters for today's games in the major leagues. We'll be back in a moment.
Attention car buyers, it's price month at Pioneer Pontiac Cadillac. Pioneer blasts high prices on all new 88 cars and trucks. Check out Pioneer Pontiac Cadillac's prices today. 88 Cadillac, $15,200. 88 Pontiac, $7,500. It's price month at Pioneer Pontiac Cadillac. No reasonable offer refused. Visit Pioneer Pontiac Cadillac today. Route 422 West, Robisonia. That's Pioneer Pontiac Cadillac, Route 422 West, Robisonia.
Before agents go to work for RE/MAX, they've already learned how to sell real estate. Because RE/MAX isn't a place for beginners or part-timers, and that's good news for anyone interested in buying or selling a home. Real estate agents join RE/MAX because they want to work with the best. Clients choose RE/MAX for the same reason.
Good morning, this is Pam.
That's a fact worth waking up to.
Great. I'll see you at the closing.
Call RE/MAX of Reading Realtors, 2630 Westview Drive, Wyomissing.
Gentlemen, start your engines for the bumper-to-bumper excitement of NASCAR's Monster Mile. Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt leads the way at the Budweiser 500 Sunday, live on ESPN.
Thomas Hearns tomorrow night in Las Vegas will defend his WBC middleweight title against Iran the Blade Barkley. But if you take a closer look at this champ, you'll find that the ring is not the only place the Hitman attacks. He is a man for all titles and a man for all seasons, sports seasons, that is. Thomas Hearns displays an enthusiasm for all sports, whether it be basketball, tennis, or golf. What the Hitman does best, however, is box. And as he readies himself for a title defense this Monday against Iran Barkley, the 11-year ring veteran relies on focused preparation for just one sport.
I know what I'm out here for. I know what I'm going into training for. And knowing that is something that really prepares you for a fight. And knowing what you're going up against, I think that's more than enough to prepare you for a fight.
And at this stage in his career, he may be one of the few really all-around boxers which can box, can punch effectively to the body, to the head, and still can knock a man out with one single blow.
Hearns has been fortunate to grow up under the tutelage of trainer extraordinaire Emanuel Stewart. The strategy Hearns will follow is crucial because his opponent presents a strong, formidable barrier.
I've seen Barkley fight on a couple of occasions, and I know what his capabilities are, what he can do and what he cannot do. I don't go through these fights watching and study films. I just prepare myself for whatever the case may be. I know that Barkley is definitely a good left hooker, and I just want to be better.
What would happen if Thomas Hearns had to face his own punching barrage? There is a belief that all involved in the Hearns camp are thankful that hopefully it will never happen.
Say that you was Thomas Hearns and for me to walk out in front of one of your punches, it would be like to me walking out in front of a Mack truck, you know? And I think that's deadly.
Thomas Hearns may need a little help when it comes to dunking a basketball, but to him, boxing is a sport that can be achieved with just a sleight of hand. Hearns is the 3.5-to-1 favorite over Barkley tomorrow night. That, of course, is the feature bout. It's a triple header, however. Other fights on the card, Virgil Hill makes his third WBA light heavyweight title defense when he faces Ramzi Hassan. And WBC super lightweight champ Roger Mayweather defends against Harold Brazier. On the links today, Morris Satowski takes a 2-stroke lead into the final round of the Kemper Open at Potomac, Maryland. Looking at the third-round leaders, Mike Reed, the Walrus, Craig Stadler, and John Mahaffey, all 2 shots behind Satowski at 9 under par. Tom Kite and Mark Brooks both tied at 8 under, 3 strokes off the pace. Meanwhile, the women in the Klinger Classic, otherwise known as the Jamie Farr Toledo Classic, Nancy Lopez has a 1-stroke lead over Laura Davies after 3 rounds, and Betsy King is 2 off the pace at 7 under par. Bob Charles holds a 2-stroke lead heading into today's final round of the Reunion Seniors Classic in Dallas, Texas. 5 others are tied for second, 2 shots off the pace. Well, we're not done yet here on Game Day. Up next, the College World Series, including 2 players who were in Omaha last year and now are making the bucks in the big leagues. The details when we come back.
This portion of Game Day, along with the latest golf news, is brought to you by Toyota and the 4x4 trucks that give you power, performance, and style.
You could ask for a 4x4 that'll shift the balance of power in the truck world. Toyota's all-new V6 4x4, the most advanced V6 engine in any compact truck. Unsurpassed horsepower, more low-down torque than any compact V6 4x4. New V6, now who's looking out for #1?
Toyota.
Toyota, who could ask for anything more?
An incredible name in electronics is attracting everyone's attention. Gold Star. After all, when you pay attention to what people want, people pay attention to you. Gold Star, the brightest star in electronics.
Tickets for Webb.
We interrupt this purchase for a reminder.
Here we go.
There's another decision worth entertaining.
Very smart.
Choosing the card that actually pays you cash. Cash back for every charge. The Discover card.
I'm starved.
It pays to Discover, the card that pays you back.
Many names in the big leagues today can be associated with a College World Series. Roger Clemens, Pete Incaviglia, Greg Swindell, who we spoke of earlier, Will Clark, and several others. While the road from college can be a long one when trying to make the majors, Sam Rosen tells us about 2 guys who got a one-way ticket from Omaha to St. Louis.
Last season, Chris Carpenter was pitching for the University of Georgia here in Omaha. He was drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals in the 1st round, and this year, when several injuries hit their pitching staff, Carpenter, who is 3-0 in Louisville, got the call from the Cardinals. His college experience helped.
I think the maturity and the makeup of the individual is what really depends how fast he can climb the ladder and if he's not overawed. And I think another thing with a young pitcher, when he pitches in a big ballpark like ours, he's not as afraid to throw strikes. He'll challenge hitters a little bit more, and I think that's a big advantage to a young pitcher.
You know, to this day, I think people question coming straight out of high school because you really don't know how to lose. You don't know how to be away from home, and my college experience was fantastic. We had a really good team, a really good coach in Steve Weber, and, you know, just pitching to that quality hitter, you know, it's not really that much difference from minor league to college. So, you know, I think that contributes to my success today is being able to pitch to college hitters.
Former Florida State star Luis Alicea showed so much progress this season that the Cardinals were able to make a deal for a much-needed power hitter, acquiring Tom Brunansky from Minnesota for Tommy Herr. That opened up the second base position for Alicea, and he was ready to step in, due in large part to his college experience.
I think it helped me in a way that the competition was tough, and we play a lot of good teams, and it prepared me also in the way that we played a lot of games, play every day and things like that. But I think mainly it was competition. It was tough.
It was only because of Alicea that we were able to make that deal. Minnesota got a good ball player. We got a very good ball player. I think it's a trade that's going to help both clubs, and I'm very pleased the way he's played so far.
I did want to mention that yesterday Stanford, the defending champions, beat Fresno State by the score of 10-3, and the Titans of Cal State Fullerton surprised the Miami Hurricanes, the Titans winning that game by the score of 9-3. Now, our coverage of the College World Series, of course, continues today here on ESPN. At 5 o'clock Eastern Time, it's the Bears of Cal Berkeley taking on the Florida Gators, and Game 2, starting around 8:30 Eastern Time, Arizona State, the Pac-10 champs, meeting the Shockers of Wichita State. Well, I'm going to be back in just a moment to wrap things up here on Game Day, so stay with us.
Harv, tell them we must sell $2 million in excess inventory.
You bet. Friends at Unclaimed Freight, we've really slashed prices on brand new famous name furniture.
Ow!
We've pulled the rug out from under the competition.
Ow!
So come on down and hammer out a deal.
What?
Save 40 to 74% now during the forced liquidation sale of excess furniture inventory.
Unclaimed Freight. It's great. Hurry to the one nearest you.
The best truck values on the road today are waiting at Dan Phelps GMC Trucks. Rebates to $500 on specially equipped GMC S15 Jimmys and pickups. Plus, special option packages that can save you an additional $1,900 on selected models. That's a total saving of up to $2,400 off suggested factory prices. When it comes to trucks, the name Dan Phelps says it all. Hurry, this offer ends soon. Dan Phelps GMC Trucks, your Mr. Good Wrench dealer. No one knows your GM truck better. No one.
College baseball's elite battle to be the best. The national championship is at stake at the NCAA College World Series. Catch all the action today at 5 Eastern live on ESPN.
It's a very busy day here on ESPN today. Following game day, we take you live to Dover, Delaware for the Budweiser 500. And then at 5 o'clock, we move to Omaha and Rosenblatt Stadium for the College World Series California and Florida meeting. Immediately following Game 1, Sports Center with Tim Brando. He'll bring you up to date with all the scores and highlights. And then it's Game 2 of the College World Series, Arizona State meeting Wichita State. And then immediately following that game, Sports Center returns, and your host then will be Tom Mees. Recapping some of the stories today, going to the French Open, the finals of the men's singles, Henri Leconte, the home crowd favorite, falling to defeat to Mats Wilander, and Wilander winning his third French Open title. There you see the scores, 7-5, 6-2, 6-1, Wilander, the French Open champion. Don't forget the NBA Finals start on Tuesday evening. The Los Angeles Lakers trying to repeat as NBA champs. They'll meet the Detroit Pistons in Game 1 Tuesday at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. That series gets underway at the Forum. Well, that does it for this edition of Game Day. Don't forget live auto racing is next, the Budweiser 500, and then, of course, the College World Series. For now, I'm Karie Ross. Thanks for being with us.